Hello everyone, good morning Asia, Malaysia and my beloved Sarawakian. How are you all feeling today? Of course you are with me, Sharon Kezia at Sejahtera Asia this morning, 21st of July, only at TVS channel 122 Astro MYTV. Today I'm quite excited because we are going to celebrate Sarawak Day, which is tomorrow, and I believe that not only me but all of us are looking forward to watch various program and exciting segment that will be featured only on TVS. So don't forget to stay tuned with us guys, especially tomorrow, because I assure you that we have a lot of exciting performance and a lot of exciting program in conjunction with Sarawak Day. Today we are so honored to have special guest Yang Berhormat Dato Sri Professor Dr. Kui Hian, our Minister of Local Government and Housing and Minister who is also responsible for this year's Sarawak Day celebration, to share with us more about Sarawak Day celebration 2021. Good morning, Dato Sri.
Morning.
How are you feeling today?
Very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too because I heard that you are the one of the minister that is responsible for our Sarawak Day. So first of all, Dato Sri, before we discuss more about our topic today, I would like you to share with us how do you feel about our Sarawak celebration of our Sarawak Day, especially this year when we cannot celebrate it as usual, but in a new norm.
In fact, I am very excited about our Sarawak Days celebration. In fact, COVID-19 will not stop the spirit of Sarawakians celebrate Sarawak Days. And for Sarawak Days, it's actually a celebration of all anak-anak Sarawak, no matter where they are in the world. It can be overseas, it can be in Sarawak, and we always encourage them to celebrate in their own ways, as long as you are anak-anak Sarawak. So this year, as usual, second year in a row, that we are disappointed that we cannot do a lot of events with the people. And so the usual events throughout whole Sarawak has been cancelled, and there's only one formal event, which is the performance and hybrid performance and dance on the night on the 22nd of July. But we also encourage all the Sarawakian to contribute in various ways. One of the ways is to do the TikToks, and send it to SMA. And also, I understand that TVS is going to ask anak-anak Sarawak from anywhere that they are over the world and do a small video for them so they can send to TVS, so that they share with everyone who are related to Sarawak and see how we celebrate Sarawak's Day.
So I say this is one of the alternatives that have been taken by mostly our government, because we still want to spread the spirit of love for our Sarawak.
Yes.
I was wondering, Dato Sri, what is the Sarawak Day celebration concept for this year?
Okay, Sarawak Day's concept for this year is Sarawak Gemilang untuk semua. So it's for all Sarawakians, and especially we take that the Sarawak Days, it actually shows the struggles, the hardships, and that our early forefathers and fought for Sarawak, and that spirit of Sarawak it continue until today by the younger generation. The younger, especially the last 1 year with COVID-19, many Sarawakians actually sacrifice, our frontliners, our unsung heroes, such as the rubbish collectors, the hospital cleaners, and many others. They continue that spirits that we are struggling, we are fighting so hard. It's all for Sarawak.
Okay, Dato Sri, I believe that every celebration event such as the state government main event will definitely have its own meaning or goal in each organization. What is the meaning behind the Sarawak Day celebration every year, Dato Sri?
Yeah. So the main concept is to bring all Sarawakians together, no matter where they are all over the world. So for this year, the theme is Gemilang, Sarawak Gemilang untuk semua. It's basically to acknowledge all our frontliners for the last 1 year, fighting the COVID-19, the spirit of it, and also the the unsung heroes such as the rubbish collectors, the hospital cleaners, as well as all the volunteers, and that coming forwards to help everyone doing playing their roles, doing their part. So this very spirit that which is what Slovakia back in 1963, when we achieved our Hari Sarawak Hari Merdeka.
I totally agree with our Sarawak celebration theme for this year, because I think the most important for us Sarawakian that we can live in harmony and tolerance in a multiracial society, which is, as you mentioned earlier, is not easy for us to achieve it, but yet we as a Sarawakian, we managed to pull it off. And that's the beauty of Sarawakian, where we still can live harmony among with various religion, races, and our ethnicity, but we managed to live in harmony and tolerance. So Dato Sri, I understand that there are various interesting segments to be present in hybrid. Could you share with us and the audience what interesting content will feature on July 22nd?
Yes. The one formal events, right? I mean, we will basically introduce a few things, including the new song called Sarawak Gemilans. But these events is also important because it's very limited in terms of number of people attending, and we would like to have the guest list, which is including the ordinary people, the people that who has contributed a lot over the last 12 months, in COVID-19. So, in fact, this apart from acknowledging and recognizing them, it is a way to show that this is Sarawak. We include everyone, and not just a VVIP.
So no one is left out for our Sarawak Day, where we celebrate every people who are deserve to be celebrated. Actually, I believe that there is still a lot of information that will be shared by Dato Sri. We have a short break. Stay tuned, guys. Only in Sejahtera Asia. Thank you for staying tuned with me, guys, and Dato Sri in Sejahtera Asia, and we are still in the topic of Sarawak Day celebration. So, Dato Sri, you have shared lots of things and information regarding the Sarawak Day celebration. Maybe based on your opinion, Dato Sri, how do we as Sarawakian can maintain harmonious life in multiracial society?
Yes, I think it's very interesting that COVID-19 actually gives us an opportunity to show how Sarawakian comes together. And this is amazing because despite the hardship, sufferings, we Sarawakian come together, we suffer together, we overcome together, we enjoy together. So this is a very good spirit of nationhood building for Sarawak. And I want to thank every Sarawakian for really proactive, instead of waiting for instruction, instead of sitting at home just complaining, they are proactive. You see where are the needs to help each other.
Correct.
And they just go and do it.
Because we can see that we as Sarawakian, we take care each other regardless our religion, regardless our races, which is this what I call is the beauty of Sarawakian. We don't choose people to help, and I'm so thankful to be a part of Sarawakian because I myself Sarawakian, because we can sit together at a coffee shop with different races in one table only without any discrimination. Dato Sri, maybe Dato Sri, we are still in the vaccination phase. Maybe you can tell us more about vaccination.
Yes, it's very. I am very happy and very proud that our vaccination program is doing so well. You see, in June, we run into the issues of hospital beds, the issues of not having PKRC, and that in June we are at the stage what I call Save Lives, and then after that we start moving on to a lot of vaccinations, and it's just amazing that so many extraordinary efforts by the doctors, the nurses, the volunteers. And so within a month, right, Sarawak has become number one in terms of vaccination in Malaysia. And not only number one in Malaysia, if you look at UK, you look at Singapore has vaccination start in December. And until 30th of June, they only vaccinate 51% of the people, 1 and 2 doses. In Sarawak, right, we only start on about after 9th of June. And by 30th of June, right, we vaccinated about 48% of the people already. So within 1 month. And this is possible is because the people themselves wants to be vaccinated, so not much of vaccine hesitancy. I want to thank them. In fact, they are so enthusiastic that they, if they have 2 o'clock appointment, they come at 8 o'clock.
Wow, so efficient.
so leading to overcrowding, and then like institution like Unimas, from within a week. They just vaccinated from 1,000 people to 5,000 people, making one of the very few mega vaccination centers in the whole Malaysia. And then you also have places like Sarawak General Hospital. The Sarawak General Hospital itself is too small. So they go to a commercial center next door called Cozy Square because under MCO, all the kedai tutup. So they just turn that place into vaccination. These are what I call extraordinary efforts. And then I'm very proud that all the frontliners and all the volunteers has worked 7 days a week, and also many working double shift to make the vaccination rate such a fast and such a success. And not only confined to urban area. I mean, you look at rural areas, places like Kapit. In fact, they start going searching for people to be vaccinated. And so it's throughout Sarawak, not just in urban area.
So we can see that our state government took a lot of initiative, and they try their very best to make sure that all of us get vaccination in the long run. But it's clear in my mind, Dato Sri, that if we see that mostly the elderly, they find the vaccination is not so good for their health. What do you say about this?
I always tell the elderly, I said, if you don't get vaccinated, because COVID-19, especially the variants, are so infectious, and the elderly, when you get infected by COVID-19, you are at the highest risk of complications and you die from it. So worldwide, we have more than few hundred million people vaccinated, and so it's very safe to have vaccination, and vaccination, in fact, is to protect you. And that's why you see our vaccination program, we start with the elderly first, and then elderly, then we move to middle age, and now we move to younger and younger people.
So how about the response from the elderly, especially in Sarawak?
Yes, I want to thank the Jabatan Kesihatan for not just thinking of statics vaccination center. They have what they call PPV mobile. PPV mobile going to all the rural areas, and they also have their special mobile team to go to those who are at home and who are bedridden and cannot come out. At the same time, we also very much appreciate the industries taking a self-initiative, because the industry needs to keep the economics going. So they do a lot of what called PPP industries, making sure that all the young people, their workers or the young workers are vaccinated.
So why is the must for all of us, especially the elderly, to go for vaccination, Dato Sri? Maybe you can spread the awareness today to the audience out there that they will tell themselves that they must go for vaccination.
I think in Sarawak, right, we have moved to the stage where initially we said we want to be 80% of the herd immunity. But I mean, we have moved to a stage where we want all eligible Sarawakians to be vaccinated. All eligible, because we know that the vaccines will give you protection, and the vaccines will minimize the chances that you get infected. And then in case, if unluckily, if you get infected, right, it's not so severe, and the chances that you die from COVID-19 is getting less and less.
Okay. So it's a good information, but I might ask you maybe a little bit sensitive question, Dato Sri. I mean, based on your experience, does anyone become, we have the bad effect of vaccination so far?
So far, there are a few cases that being investigated, and in the current era of social media, there's called infodemics. Infodemics that a lot of information who is true or not true, and it's very hard for everyone to judge what is true information and what is false fake information. So please don't just simply looking at your hot apps and information. Depend on official information, and as far as Sarawak is concerned, we don't want to hide anything. There's no need to hide anything. Vaccination has a very, very small risk of vaccines effects. And worldwide, we all know that, that there is a very, very small adverse vaccine events. But for us, or you and me, we have to think of the positive side. The positive side is how many people are benefited, then how many are having adverse events. So this is how the medicine is, and somehow our cultures, our natures of the people, we tend to worry about the very small percentage of the adverse events rather than the big benefits of the vaccination.
So it's a good sharing from Dato Sri actually about vaccination. We will find more about this, especially about our Sarawak Day celebration, only in Sejahtera Asia. Stay tuned, guys. Welcome back, guys. We are still in Sarawak Day celebration topic with Dato Sri, and I'm interested, Dato Sri, with the Sarawak Gemilang song, which is the title of our special song created specifically for the Sarawak Day celebration this year.
Yes.
What do this song try to convey to us, Dato Sri?
Yes, I think the Gemilang Sarawak Gemilang, the song basically is to encompass everyone, the Sarawak coming together, and more importantly, the song is composed by a fellow Sarawakian who is overseas. And in fact, the event for the night, right, is a showcase of Sarawak talents, both locally and overseas. Because we do hybrids because of the COVID-19, we cannot have all the live performance because the limit to 100 people, and so I am actually very proud that in Sarawak, right, this is what I mean by Sarawak Days. We want to recognize and acknowledge talents from Sarawak who are overseas. We also want to acknowledge that these talents on Hari Sarawak still contributing back to Sarawak. So it's a both ways, and this is what Sarawak is about. Always coming together, always include everyone together, and always that you can play your role, do your part, something for Sarawak and the people of Sarawak.
So what are the challenges that you face, Dato Sri, in making this hybrid segment?
The challenges are actually enormous. One is the SOP, the limitations that the number of people that we can have, and the swab test and so on. But the other is there are so many people who want to come, but we can only afford to give it to 100 places. So I must apologize that we cannot, because of COVID-19, we cannot accommodate everyone. Otherwise, usually we have we want to include as many people as possible. But because of TVS, you can watch on live on TVS.
That sounds interesting. I'm looking forward also to see what is the hybrid segment are trying to convey us, trying to show to us. So Dato Sri, in your many years of service, how far have you seen the changes in the healthcare system in Sarawak or in Malaysia? And what are the research or project that you see we are lacking in or require more often?
Yes, It's very interesting. I mean, I live in Melbourne, Australia for 17 years. I've been back in Malaysia for about 20 years. Yeah. In Sarawak, about 20 years. In Malaysia, come back to Malaysia, about 23 years. During this period of time, I can see progress in Sarawak. But what happened is the progress in Sarawak, normally because the healthcare is under the federal list, under Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia. This is one of the reasons why I always said that the inequality that Sarawak suffer. Inequality suffers because the healthcare is always tend to be based on population. In Sarawak, right, our population is small and they spread all over Sarawak. And when they spread all over Sarawak, right, so Sarawakian doesn't have the benefit of having as much healthcare facilities as the rest of Malaysia. You know, so what is? But despite all this, we have many Sarawakians who are very patriotic. They come back to serve in Sarawak.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So I mean, when I started the heart center, that's 20 years ago, and this heart center now is so famous throughout the world. Everybody know about Pusat Jantung Sarawak. This is an example that if federal government give us opportunity, we got the talents. They just need to give us opportunity. That's why CN Abanjo relooking at from another angles. Our number one disease is heart. Our number two disease is cancer. So at this point of time, CN Abanjo has asked me to return to federal government, and we want to get our cancer center going. Because health is funded by federal, and so we want to propose to federal government that Sarawak government will come in to help on the Sarawak Cancer Center. But because of COVID-19, CN has actually announced that because of COVID-19, after COVID, we do not know what other infectious disease are coming. And for Sarawak, right, we want to protect our own Sarawakian. We want to be doing all the necessary homework. And because after the last 12 months, it teaches us a lot about the infectious disease. So he has allocated 200 million for Sarawak infectious disease, and which is going to be ready in 3 years. And with these type of centers, with all the state-of-the-art facilities, it will allow us to collaborate with those Western countries, with more famous centers, so that instead of Sarawak has to wait for KL, we go direct. And so when you go direct, we can be faster, we have more interventions, we have more knowledge and so on, so that we can help our people in Sarawak faster and no need to in the queue waiting for KL.
Also, it's like our own fund, our
Yes.
fund to help our people, especially at the rural area, to get a better treatment, to get a quality treatment. But then, Dato Sri, I was thinking that maybe due to our population, that our government, especially the state government, they can afford to provide a good and quality treatment for those Sarawakian. But for the long run, do you think it's good for the state Sarawak for them to compulsory each of individual to get their medical card in order for us to provide more beneficial to ourselves?
Sarawak has been fighting for our health autonomy because part of the MA63 is about petroleum, natural gas, but the other two that which we have been fighting very hard is education and health. So Sarawak health autonomies, we basically has been telling the federal government in the committee level and the ministerial level that Sarawak government wants to have, number one, Sarawak Medical Council to control which are the doctors registered to practice Sarawak instead of Malaysian Medical Council. And Sarawak government wants to have Kementerian Kesihatan Sarawak to replace Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia. That means that we will jaga semua healthcare ourselves instead of federal government. They just need to play their role, which is to give us the allocation, the amount of money every year, and then we will manage ourselves. And so this is very important because we realize that the talents in medical profession are very hard to retain. And so we want to start looking at another ways to speak out so that as many Sarawakians will benefit from this change of the systems. So we will try to, GPS government will continue to pursue that so that to change the way the healthcare for all the Sarawakians in Sarawak.
Oh, so this is still in progress, Dato Sri?
Yes.
Okay, but it's a good thing for us to know that maybe in the long run we will get control on our own healthcare and medical sector.
Yes.
So Dato Sri, in November 2020, you made a remark saying Sarawak is lacking in dialysis machine to cater for kidney patient. And now with the pandemic going on, we can hear that some place, not necessary, Sarawak, is overwhelmed by patient and some equipment are lacking. So is there any thought on increasing or upgrading the equipment that we have?
Yes, I think since last year, right? I mean, we have been fighting very hard. And yesterday, we had a meeting with the Minister of Finance Malaysia, and my first statement to him is Sarawak has been inequalities in medical facilities, but given the pandemic, it's really hard to prepare. Even though we have inequality, like for example, ICU beds, there are only 53 ICU beds in the whole of Sarawak, and we want to push it to more than hundreds because based on population, based on the number of ICUs that we need when we look at the cases in Kuala Lumpur. But then we also, yesterday, we also discussed with the Minister of Finance special funding because we want to prepare more than hundreds now because of Delta variants. So the Delta variant means that there are a lot more people who need ICU beds than before. So this is a moving target. Ordinary time, places like Cebu only have about 7 to 9 ICU beds. But during COVID-19, they got up to almost 30 beds. Ordinary time, we do not need that number of beds. If in Sarawak, we have so many ICU beds, right? It means that Sarawakians are very unhealthy. Very unhealthy that you need so many ICU beds. But unfortunately, in COVID-19, right, suddenly it's beyond the normal expectations. And that's why we are doing all the preparation. We hope we have vaccinated fast enough that even though now we have our Delta variants, we will be ahead of the curve so that if people happen to get infected, because they are vaccinated, they're not so severe. So, but on the other hand, we want to prepare to make sure that our facilities, ICU beds and so on, is adequate, given that we look at the number of cases in West Malaysia. So we don't want that when it hit us, then we start looking for all the facilities.
Yeah, so as what you mentioned, that we need to stand by. We need to prepare well. We need to prepare well in facing this pandemic, which is, I think, is getting worse. Dato Sri, we will know more about our healthcare and treatment in Sarawak only at Sejahtera Asia. Stay tuned, guys. Yeah, thank you for stay tuned with me, guys. Sharon Kezia and Dato Sri only in Sejahtera Asia. It was a great sharing. Dato Sri shared to us about how excellent our healthcare and medical center in Sarawak. So Dato Sri, first COVID cases in Sarawak was detected in Kuching on March 2020. And after that, we definitely are aware of the reality of the virus. From the first variant till now, what's ongoing local research are underway to avoid this virus being a superbug?
Yes, I think this is a very challenging situation because if you look, the COVID-19 always come from outside Sarawak. I mean, they always reach Malaysia. Then after between 3 weeks to 4 weeks to about 8 weeks, they will somehow come to Sarawak. And the delay, the only blessing is that the delay allowed us to learn about a bit more about what's happening, and then we quickly do our preparation. And we cannot stop Sarawakians from coming back home. This is why I always explain to Sarawakians that unfortunately, your inconveniences, your disruptions is all because we want you to love Sarawak. We want you to protect Sarawak. And because if you don't have all this, right, the minute that the virus reaches Kuala Lumpur, the next day it will hit Sarawak. So we hope that we will continue to be very careful despite after 2 doses of vaccination because all these different variants. I want to thanks UNIMAS, Professor David Pereira and team. Is one of the only centers in Sarawak, very few centers in Malaysia who can do genomic study of the virus. And the Professor David Pereira and team, they took over from our famous Professor Jen Cardosa before, who is a viral expert as well. So they continue to help the Jabatan Kesihatan Sarawak. They continue to help Sarawak government. And this is shows that in terms of Sarawak, right, we have all these talents from be it university, be it from private, be it from government, be it from federal government, coming together because this entire crisis, we do something for Sarawak.
So based on your own opinion, Dr. Sri, that we already, some of us already completed our second dose. Do you think in the long run this vaccine, I mean, this completed second vaccine can avoid us from affected by COVID?
Yes, I mean, at the moment there's a lot of debate on vaccine passport. And vaccine passport, that means that you have fully 2 doses. And the vaccine passport, fully 2 doses is not the same as vaccine antibodies immunity. Why these differences is means that, you see, we know that even the best vaccine in the world at the moment, only about 94-95% protection. So out of 100 people, 4 or 5 people will have no effect. So if you vaccinate by like in Sarawak, 2 million people, there'll be a large part will be not very effective. But the majority, 94-95%, will be protected. Because of changes in variants, one of the reasons for changes in variant is because the COVID-19 in many places outside Sarawak is still transmitting very fast. And it's naturally that when the virus transmits, they mutate. And they either mutate, become weaker, or they mutate in the stronger. The weaker one we never hear. The stronger one we always hear. And the current, one of the strongest one is called Delta. And so all this mutation becomes stronger. So some of vaccines, right, we may not have as effective for the stronger one. But without vaccination, you have totally no protection. But with vaccination, even though not as effective, it still at least give protection, at least less likely to going to get infected. If you get infected, less severe and less chances that you die from it. So we must be positive about that. And so at the same time, we must continue our face masks, our social distancing, our hand washings, and so on. That will need to continue.
So it's very important for us to look after SOP, like the 3W, wash, wear, and warn. So we must abide with this rule because it's beneficial to us, not only to us, but to other people as well. So Dato Sri, in 2019, you make a suggestion that those under the ministry should be sent to China to undergo training to gain perspective on their healthcare system, since we have already signed 3 agreements with the 3 regions in China, and to fully use the agreement to our advantage. This is a good suggestion. So how is the plan towards the implementation?
I think the exchanges between different countries will benefit from us because we are very Western, be it UK, Australia, and so on. But we also realize that if you look at the progress in China, you look at how they handle the COVID-19. Their system and their expertise must contribute to their success. I'm very sure. So for us in Sarawak, we must be very open-minded. That whichever system is good, every system there are goodness and there are weakness. And whichever system is good, we go and learn. And then this exchange is very important because just like in the mid 20s, about 2013, 2014, I trained cardiologists from China who come and train with us in Sarawak Heart Center. 2019, we actually sent a Sarawakian to China to train in their heart center. So these exchanges, right, will allow us to learn from each other. And the whole idea is to learn the good things from the others, so that, and also not to be aware that what is applicable, that the practice in those areas, what is applicable, what can bring back to Sarawak, so that we can continue to evolve, continue to be doing the best for our people.
So it's like exchange the opinions about all the view regarding the healthcare and medicals lah. It's like that, Dato Sri. So Dato Sri, when Sarawak General Hospital was attempting to set up a cardiology unit, you returned in 2001. The cardiology departments of Sarawak was set up. The department involved in a cardiology center, which with his own standard, then the facility recognized training center. So what are the challenges during that time?
Yes, I mean, when I came back to Malaysia in 1998, I spent 3 years in Penang. At that point in time, I mean, everyone come back from overseas, every doctor come back from overseas, you must work for the government for 3 years. And when the opportunity come out to work, to set up a heart center in Kuching, my hometown, of course, we will grab that opportunity. And it's quite, I mean, it's quite challenging in the sense that there's nothing for you. There is no infrastructure for you. There's no manpower for you. There's no funding for you. And so we just said, you have to go and do something. So, of course, I mean, I always tell people, it's not the amount of money that you get paid, but it's the opportunity that you're given. I mean, if you're looking at the government service, I mean, I started with U2, then I was JUSA Air within 10 years. And even at JUSA Air, I'm the youngest ever Ministry of Health with JUSA Air at 43 years old. Even at JUSA Air, you only get paid 26,000. But if you go to my trainees, when I finish training them, they go to private, they get paid 100,000 a month. But it's not the amount of money, it's the opportunity. I am very grateful for the opportunity that in the year 2000, that the Ministry of Health and Sarawak government said, we want to set up a heart center in Sarawak. And despite the hardship, and we all know that the success and failure depends on you. You have no one else to blame because there's nothing. And so we, over a period of just a few years, and with the support of Sarawak Heart Foundation, the late Dato Amalailas, and the public, we not only made the Sarawak Heart Center, which is, people say is cheap and good. I said it's not cheap and good, it's good and cheap. Because it's good, but happens to be in the public hospital become cheap, but it made them into one of the best recognized centers of excellence, not just the services, and we also evolved into research in Malaysia and in the region. As a result of the opportunity, and from the jungle of Borneo, people like me was elected to become the president of the Asia Pacific Society of Cardiology. The first Malaysian in 50 years ever get elected to be the president for Asia Pacific. And I was very, very inspired that the recognition is more than money. The recognition is more that from the jungle of Borneo, you do these awards and you are recognized by your professional peers. So the American College of Cardiology has recognized during my presidency as a Heart Association of Malaysia, we made Malaysia become the first international chapter in the world for American College of Cardiology. So it shows that even in the jungle of Borneo, number one, if you are good, people from US, people from other places will come and recognize you. You know, so you cannot. These are the opportunity that we have in Sarawak. Of course, if you look at the salary, I mean, you'll be better off staying in Singapore. You'll be better off staying in Australia. But in Singapore and Australia, they got so many talents to look after their people already. Whereas in Sarawak, we need more talents to look after our own people.
Correct.
So I hope that we got a lot of young talented people from Sarawakian who are overseas. If you love Sarawak, you come back to serve Sarawak, you come back to help Sarawak.
Correct.
You don't just look at the amount of salaries, you know, or the pay that you get. Because the opportunity that you have to help our people, the opportunity that you have to go internationally and be recognized is more than your salary.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Dato Sri, where I think this is the time for us as a Sarawakian to give back to the community, to give back to the state government. As for they have been doing a lot of contribution during our stay. We will know more, especially regarding healthcare and medical in Sarawak. Everything on Sejahtera Asia. Welcome back, guys, with me, Sharon Kezia and Dato Sri, only on Sejahtera Asia. So we're back on with our Sarawak Day celebration, Dato Sri. So what are the expectations for this year's Sarawak Day celebration?
I think in this year's Sarawak Days, because of COVID-19, I think as a whole, we should not stop by COVID-19, the spirit of Sarawak Day celebration, we should not stop by COVID-19. But the good thing is, even at COVID-19, even though many people has spend the day at home, but you still can celebrate in your own ways. Yeah, because the Let Tok Nang gazetted Sarawak Day in May 2016 as a public holiday. That means 22nd July is a public holiday. And if it's alive, right? If you do nothing and just do nothing, just sit on the chair at home or tidur saja, he will scold you. You know, he said just another day to tidur ka. You know, so I mean, you still can do your own ways. I mean, Sarawak Day celebration in your own ways. Like if there are people who are overseas, they might want to say cook Sarawak laksa on that day. You know, and so for many of the people in Sarawak on that day, perhaps you can put out the Sarawak flag, to show that we are all anak-anak Sarawak. We come together to celebrate Sarawak. So unfortunately, this year because of COVID-19, we just moved into Fasa 2. We cannot have any social gatherings in a big way. Otherwise, throughout the whole Sarawak, we will celebrate with performance and so on. But this year, we just want people, every Sarawakian, to stay safe and stay strong. Yeah, because we have many more Sarawak Days to go after this.
True. I think we as a Sarawakian, we have a many way by our own. We can celebrate Sarawak Day at home with our family. This is the time for us to spend together with our family. And I mean, not a big family, only our small family, just a small gathering between us and our family member, where we can eat together, where we can karaoke together, or we do anything activity that's been together, as long as this is a bonding family time. So Dato Sri, before we end our show this morning, what is your advice to the audience this morning who are watching us regarding our Sarawak Day?
So it's very important that as much as COVID-19 will not stop us from celebrating, but it's very important that we really stick to what the SOP. Your immediate family, please, by all means, but no big gatherings. Yeah, and because why? Because we love you. We want you to have many more Sarawak Day to celebrate. We don't want you to be this the last Sarawak Day, because the next few years, when after COVID-19, we have so many other things that we want to do. And as Sarawak gemilang untuk semua, and we want you to benefit from this gemilang. And so I don't want you to be tengok saja.
Correct. So to all of you out there, don't forget Dato Sim advice that we can still celebrate Sarawak Day with our family, but in a safety environment, in a safety situation. So thank you once again Yang Berhormat Dato Sri Professor Dr. Sim Kui Hian, Minister of Local Government and Housing, for informative and inspiration sharing. Dato Sri. So to all Sarawakian, with the Sarawak Day celebration every day, even now in new norms, I hope that we as Sarawakian can fully continue to love Sarawak State. Integrated effort and consistency need to be done by all of us so that the spirit of nationalism in us remain intact. Let us together, we stand shoulder to shoulder in creating Sarawak society that are open-minded and respect each other in order for us to progress and prosperity can be achieved. So guys, don't forget to stay tuned with us tomorrow because we have various interesting programs in conjunction with Sarawak Day only at TVS Channel 122, Astro and MYTV. Until we meet again in the next episode, I'm Sharon Kezia, only at Sejahtera Asia. From inspiration, we spark innovation. Happy Sarawak Day, guys!
Before I end my speech, I would like to thank all members of the organizing committee, led by Unit Protocol Istiadat dan Pengurusan Acara Negeri, in successfully organizing this event. Kita jaga kita. Into Sarawak, jaga Sarawak, stay strong. Sarawak gemilang untuk semua. Selamat menyambut Hari Sarawak tahun 2021. Oh, ha! Terima kasih.